Welcome to the She Speaks to Inspire podcast. I'm your host, Julia Kraft, your authentic expression mentor and public speaking coach. She Speaks to Inspire is an empowering public speaking podcast for women with public speaking fear. Unlike other podcasts on public speaking, She Speaks to Inspire not only gives you tips to be a confident communicator under pressure, but also helps you regulate your nervous system for less anxiety, learn lifestyle practices to reduce burnout and overwhelm, and reconnect with your feminine leadership presence for more authenticity and comfort in your skin. I believe it's the quiet ones, especially the quiet women, who have the most important ideas. I believe the world really does need your voice. So let's dive in. Hey, welcome back. And today we're talking about when it's your turn to lead the meeting. Are you comfortable? Are you confident? Are you able to facilitate the meeting in a way that makes you come across as a leader? Or is that opportunity stopping you in your tracks, getting you up in your head, and you're missing the opportunity for the visibility and all the opportunities that could come with that? When it comes to leading a meeting, it's not only a speaking opportunity, it's also, I want to clarify, it's also a facilitation opportunity. Really, the skill set that you need to build is more around facilitation and improvisation than having a presentation prepared, slides prepared and everything, because you don't know how people are going to respond. And because you are probably in a meeting situation more facilitating a discussion or getting people's perspectives, getting people's buy-in, creating space for everyone to share. And this is a great opportunity to show your leadership skills, which is very different than your expertise in what you do. And I want to talk more about that in the next episode, so tune in there. But just to clarify, when it comes to leading a meeting, you need to shift from everyday work, getting stuff done, to speaker mode, but specifically to facilitating a conversation. Unfortunately, over the last 10 years or so, when I hear about the meetings at my clients' workplaces, about their bosses, their colleagues, and how they facilitate meetings, hey, it's rare that I hear about a meeting that's facilitated well, where there's clear leadership, clear communication. For someone that is anxious about speaking and being in the spotlight in the first place, if you're attending a meeting and you know that there's going to be an opportunity to speak, like maybe you have to insert your idea, or maybe you're going to have your 1-minute update or something. If that meeting is not facilitated well, that is going to make your anxiety worse. So that's the other side of this, where if there isn't good leadership in a meeting that you are part of, that can add to your anxiety. And all the things that I teach about are going to be super, super important for you to apply in that situation, because there's a lot that's out of your control. That all being said, when you have the opportunity to lead the meeting, I want you to do an excellent job. I want you to facilitate in a way that everyone's really clear how much time there is, what's expected of each person, what the purpose of the meeting is, so that you know if you've actually accomplished it. I want you to end your meetings on time. Imagine the value you would start to have to your company if you facilitated meetings in this way. What would that do for your career opportunities and possibilities? And what would that do for your confidence if you knew that you could facilitate meetings in a way that left people feeling this way and led to really good bottom line outcomes? Okay, so every company is different. You have your company culture. You know it better than I do, of course. So take everything that I say today and calibrate it for your situation and the personalities in your room. As the leader of a meeting, one of the most important things, the thing that will make or break your ability to come across as a leader in that meeting, is your introduction. There's been so many studies that they've done on presentations to see how much an audience is actually paying attention. Like they'll put probes on people in the audience to see what their brain is doing while they're listening. And overwhelmingly, the data is introduction while the speaker is setting up the presentation. So say the first 2, 3, 4 minutes of a presentation, that's when the audience's attention is the highest and the most alert. And there's a point after the introduction that the audience's attention will start to go down. I think as a public speaking coach that is largely because the audience has already made judgments about you during your introduction as to if this is going to be worth their time, energy to fully tune into. So according to these studies, the audience's attention goes pretty low all the way down towards the middle of the presentation and then comes back up not quite as high as the introduction for your conclusion. And this is for a traditional presentation, not a meeting. But in a meeting, I think an introduction can be even more important because it really sets the stage for what the agreements are for the time that you have together. Have you ever had somebody interrupt you in a meeting? Have you ever had somebody go on and on and on and take the meeting off track? Have you ever had somebody dominate the meeting with their loud voice or with their ideas the whole time? All of these are examples of a failure of leadership, and largely that's because the meeting wasn't set up well in the introduction. It's your job to get everyone's buy-in on the agreements that we're all going to abide by during this time together. And when I say buy-in, it's that all in agreement that doing these things will be best for me personally, like I'm personal self-interest, but also for the greater good, for the good of the other people in the room, the good of the project, the good of the company. When you have that buy-in, a meeting starts to have cohesion. So what do you put in an introduction to create this? First of all, it's a good idea to have something, the first words out of your mouth in the meeting that are not, "Hi everybody, thanks so much for being here. I really appreciate you taking the time." Something fluffy like that. Try to avoid that. What if the first words out of your mouth when you started the meeting was something that actually was interesting? Like, "Hi everyone, did you see that 64% of our sales went down last quarter?" And, everybody's going to turn their heads and be like, "Whoa." Or you could do a little story of somebody. Last quarter, we had a patient named Cindy who was able to get off her medication and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, so what if you told a story? Really short and sweet. I'm talking about 30 seconds or less, 15 seconds ideal. It's a little something to gather everyone's attention and to refocus them on the purpose of the meeting. So try that out. It might be totally new for you. And then I want you to state really clearly and simply what this meeting is. You would not believe how many times people don't say this. They think, "Oh yeah, everybody knows what this meeting is. This is our quarterly update meeting. This is our weekly update meeting. We always do this. It's on the meeting agenda. They know what it is." Say it. That sets the stage for everyone to be on the same page, mentally brings everybody to the purpose of why they're there. It's very simple. And then a great next step is to share a little bit of background. So it could be your personal story if people don't know who you are. Just a little, "This is who I am and why I'm here with you today." If these are people that you know, it's more likely going to be any background on the topic for the day. So if you're updating everybody on a project, what background does everybody need to get on the same page with in terms of the project? As some of you know, we have 3 weeks left until the launch. Whatever update you need. Very short, very sweet. This is also where you would say your name if you haven't already, especially if people don't know you. And then go into the agenda. I also see a lot of very loose agendas in how people set up meetings. I suggest that you choose a number. 3 is a great number. Choose a number. There's 4 things that we're going to dive into today. There's 2 really important topics that we need to resolve today. Choose a number and then give each of those things that you're going to address today a title. Super simple. We have 2 things that we're going to address today: our sales projections and our return numbers. I'm just making it up, but whatever it makes sense for you for that meeting, break it down into concrete little sections that are digestible and try not to make it like 10 sections. That's too much. 3 is an awesome number. 4, maybe. 5 is a lot. So we've got the agenda. Then what? It's worthwhile to share in an introduction, really simply, what you expect to accomplish by the end of this meeting. That gets everybody on the same page of what the purpose of this is, what we're working towards together. It's like we're building the house together. Everybody knows this is the project. The goal is to have the house up, right? Okay, so what is the goal of this time? By the end of this meeting, we will clearly state it. And lastly, if there's any objections, fears, resistance in the room that you anticipate, think of your audience. What's in the back of their minds? Are the tax people worried about the expenses? Is legal worried about some of the legality of things? Is operations concerned about the timeline? It can be worthwhile to speak to those things very briefly, very simply in an introduction. Something like, I know that some of you might be thinking that 3 weeks is a really short timeline to launch our next project. But I assure you, if we do what we're meant to do today, we'll be on track for that timeline. Something like that. Does that feel like a lot for an introduction? When I explain it all out, it might seem like a lot, but I promise if you put this all together and you're really simple and direct about it, it usually will take about 3 minutes tops. And that time is so well spent. You won't have people interrupting you because they know their role. You won't have people going off on tangents because they know what the goal is. And if they do go off on tangents, you can interrupt them and bring them back, or maybe somebody else will because it's already been spoken. So when it's your turn to lead the meeting, make sure to have a powerful, strong, assertive introduction. Get everyone to buy into the value of the purpose of the meeting, of working together. And then facilitating a conversation that maybe is a topic for another podcast because it's a big topic. There can be so many situations that come up. But I would simply at this point encourage you to stay true to your initial agenda, to your initial purpose, and use your voice to guide the conversation and the direction of the meeting over and over again back to that initial goal. I hope this is helpful for you and hope it supports your confidence to take charge confidently and take your career to the next level. Thanks for listening. This has been She Speaks to Inspire with Julia Kraft, your authentic expression mentor and public speaking coach. I'm so glad you joined me. And I hope you got so much out of this episode. If you want to learn more about Speak to Inspire training programs and get inspired, head over to speaktoinspire.com or follow us on Instagram at She Speaks to Inspire. Never forget, the world needs your voice, and it's time for you to speak to inspire. See you on the next episode.